let's get started. We talked as as a staff, and I think one of the first questions that you guys want to know is when will we open back up? So I'll kind of take the lead on that, and then we got some other stuff that Jim and Richard will present. But in terms of opening for the public, we're looking at the 29th of June, and we're looking at regular hours at this point. If it changes, we'll let you guys know because we'll be doing another Zoom meeting next Thursday and the following Thursday. So we'll be doing these up until we actually open. So that way we can keep you guys in the loop because we want to see you too. You know, we missed some of the questions and challenges you throw at us. But anyway, we'll be open at Monday through Thursday. Friday we won't be open because the 4th is the Saturday, so we'll be observing it on the 3rd of July. Okay, any questions on that from anyone? Nope. Okay, and we're trying to work on the social distancing. One of our biggest challenge, and we will know in the next couple of weeks, is to how to have a safe distance. Because we know sometimes you guys want to do back-to-back studios and stuff like that. To be honest with you, before I schedule that, I'd have to have a conversation with the two producers to make sure we are in compliance with the social distancing that's been set out by the city and the state. And the other thing about that is, I know you guys may have guests and stuff. We may have to limit that initially, because we have to also take in consideration that there are other people that will be using the facility. So we want to kind of keep things, comfortable for everybody. I know you do have refreshments. We'll have to work out a schedule for when you want to have refreshments for your crew and that sort of thing. I mean, the large conference room is big enough, but we may have to kind of designate social distancing just to be on the safe side. We're doing this for everyone's benefit. I mean, this is new, so we don't have a concrete plan in place because anything is subject to change. Um, Even with the checkouts. I know Jeremy had mentioned that he had the conversation, with our group about, maybe scheduling them in 1 hour increments, and we'll probably have to do that. One of the biggest challenge with that, well, two, obviously, um, is how do we get um, your insurance fee? Because again, we have to kind of look at what makes sense. We'll know that definitively in the next week or two. So by the time we start doing those, we will know how that would work out. We will provide masks wherever we can, but when we run out, we run out. So it would be nice if folks kind of provided their own. We would really appreciate that. The other side of the equation is we talked about the way of knowing who's in the facility. So we'll probably be doing sign-ins, and the staff will probably handle the clipboard because that way it's less, cleaning and sanitizing. And the thing is, it's just a matter of like how we do on Saturday. The only difference is we will have to sign you out so we know how long you're in the facility. And we're doing this to help everyone. We may even do curbside checkouts. Have no problems with that. But that poses another challenge, and that's something we have to work out. Obviously, the producers won't be able to test the equipment because we're doing a curbside checkout. The other thing is insurance again. So these things we'll have to kind of work through, and we're flexible, okay? But we want to keep everybody safe. And the editing bay. We will try to maximize it with maybe 3 people. We got to look and see. And it would make sense to do edit bay 1, edit bay 4, and edit bay 6, because I think those 3 are 6 feet apart. So, but again, this is new to all of us. I know there was a question about in the studio getting additional editing time, and we've never refused you guys editing time. So we will work with you guys in that regards as well. Okay? Any questions? Concerns? All right. Jim, do you want to show what you have, or do Richard want to go before you? I mean, either way, it's fine.
It's fine. I can start. One of the questions we've been having was, are there any other questions about opening? That's the first thing. And we've had a couple of people join. Can everybody hear now? Zazelle, you were having trouble before.
I can hear you now.
Okay, that's good. And then Lisa and Tony and Percy, and you see that you're muted. You can unmute yourself. There's a little microphone with a slash to it if you need to.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you. I couldn't hear before.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get in, and also you don't get to hear until you've connected with your audio the rest of the way. That's kind of an odd extra step, and it throws me each time anyway. So we got one more person coming in right now, but let's see. One of the questions we've gotten a lot about was about smartphone editing, and training is planning on having a class on that. So we don't know exactly when that was in process at the time. So so keep an eye open for that. That'll be in the what's happening spot on the homepage, that blog from CAN TV. Go ahead and keep an eye on that, because that'll be coming up. But I can talk a little bit about it and answer some questions about it. The big thing recently, I had to do a documentary for a master's thesis about 2 years ago now, in 2018, and and in doing it, I used the smartphone as my primary camera, and so I run into a lot of issues with it. And so if there's something that you got a particular question about, maybe I can help with it. But again, the training folks are your best place to go for information. The big thing I noticed was, one is the same basics that you use in working with cameras and working with the same with any camera is your framing, your audio. You want to keep mindful of that, because your smartphone camera is just like the camera mic on your camera. You need to get close enough so that you can pick up good audio on it. Or you have to attach another mic, and which is what I did. I attached a mic to it, and it was a different mic than this one that I'm wearing today, but I'm wearing I'll pick it up, a Lav that I'm wearing right now, and because I dipped into my production equipment to do these things. The other thing is framing, that trying to make sure you've got enough light. And light is kind of tricky, and let me share a PowerPoint thing I've got here. This is a lighting setup the kind of lighting setup that this is an improvised lighting setup. I've got actually still 3-point lighting, but I used a bounce card to get the still light, and just a lamp with the light off of it. And that's kind of what I'm using right now too here at home. But this is what it looked like on the actual camera recording. So I'm trying to eliminate the distraction stuff, and that's still what you would want to do anyway. So, and then I'm going to play a video, and this is from this is Ross Rowe. He's somebody I had interviewed in my thesis, and Ross was Ross runs the government channel out in Elk Grove Village, and so he was talking about some stuff, and I'm going to play this. They tell me you can't hear what he's talking. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Yes, that's
No.
You hear him or you don't hear him?
Don't hear him, and
No.
the video is not smooth.
Yeah, it's choppy.
Oh, it's not going? Ah, did that wrong.
It's not buffering right.
Let me try this here. All right, let me leave it there. One of the things with the lens on your phone, it's built for selfies. I mean, I know some of the phones have got these extra lenses that they put on there that uses the Hubble telescope kind of technology to interpolate different pictures and things like that. Some of the like the iPhone's doing that, and some other smartphones do. But if you look at this phone picture, it's like a fisheye lens, and so like Ross's hands right there are bigger than his head because they were just a little bit closer to the camera. And so that's the other thing to watch out for, is that you get a little bit of distortion when you're doing it. And so those were kind of the big things that I wanted to share with smartphone video. Richard, did you have stuff on this?
Not exactly. Mine was more on editing and
Okay.
editing softwares.
We'll come back to that then. Is there any other questions about smartphone video that I can maybe answer quickly?
Get a really good.
Yeah,
light.
quickly.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is there a limit on the file size when you're recording?
It's what you've got in your phone, and so that'll be different from phone to phone. I
So
went ahead and
it can be continuous.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it can. And I went ahead and paid $5 and got Filmic Pro was the software that I used on the phone. I didn't use the phone's video, but you can use the phone's video. Those sometimes have 5-minute limits. So the what's built into the phone, because they're meant for short things. The other thing is memory is an issue, and I used an external memory card, which gave me more time. But the other thing I learned is that you have to start with a clean card. You have to actually erase the card. Not even erasing the files. You had to reformat the card each time. And that reformatting, it helps for the continuity in the phone, because it's really using a lot of energy in the phone when it's recording. It's trying to figure out where to put it, and then if it's looking all over the card to find blank spaces to stick parts of a file, which is what it does. It'll do that searching, and then you can sometimes have corrupted files. Now, fixing corrupted files is a whole nother matter, and there's ways to do it. There's software that can help you with it, but fixing corrupted files is an issue, and so I think it's best to avoid them altogether. And the number of times that I had to stop and re-record parts of an interview because a file corrupted on me while I was recording it. the other thing is too is turn everything else off on your phone. Mute calls coming in, everything else. I had one interview that had gone on for about 20 minutes into the interview, and my spouse needed to get something out of one of an email account that we share, and the password wasn't working. And so I got the security warnings that someone was trying to get into my account. I got a call from my spouse. I got a text from my spouse, and all those things totally derailed, and I lost that 20 minutes of talking. I had to go back and redo it. So you want to try to clear that up too. That's the other big thing that got me was files. Tony, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Jim, just mention briefly that when they're trying to submit to program services, what Leslie discussed last week.
Oh yeah, yeah. You still have to end up being an MPEG-4, and you still have to end up being at 30 frames per second. Otherwise, our system doesn't like it. So you still have to, when you finally, after you edit it, it still has to hit those parameters from that you use when you're submitting a file to program services. Any other questions?
I was
On
going to
smartphone video?
that you know, the lighting setup's really cool, and just using practical lights like that. The problem is, and I know this because I also went to film school, is that if you different light bulbs have slightly different colors, and you might end up with a perfectly balanced, you know, white light on your face, and then an orange or, you know, sick green background. So that's a little tricky. And also, if you're bouncing your light off your walls, if your walls are colored, that might affect. So you'll have like a bluish tint on your face and stuff. So it's a little tricky. So it's just one of those things to look for. If you can use the same light bulb, and if you can use a white card like Jim used in his, then that's the ideal situation for that. But you can go really far. You can really French New Wave it up and do some great looking stuff with just practical lights around your house.
Yeah.
I found that my key light, that I use a gel to, an amber gel, sometimes helps eliminate some of that, and gets rid of the bluish light from the key light of my camera, my onboard camera light.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a useful way of going about it.
Yeah, if you have gels, that makes a world of difference. You can do a lot more.
Yeah. I know I was fighting with the white balance scheme for this camera here, so it's the other thing I did is I used a tripod. I just am not happy with my handheld work as much, so I used a tripod, and I got a cheap connector to mount the phone on my tripod, and this came with a little short tripod, but it was like a $5 piece. You can get them from Amazon. You can get them at Five Below, which is like a dollar store, or only $5 store, and you can get them. It's cheap. It won't take a lot, but it'll fit most of the smartphones. It wouldn't fit a tablet, but you just clip it on the phone. I can't do it this way. I haven't done it without it being on a tripod before. Clip it on your phone, and then you can see it. You can see what's going on with it and stuff. So and you don't block the lens, which is right here on this phone. I also found that this setup with this on a tripod, I could use it for a handheld shot as a stabilizer. So I just carried it with the tripod still attached, and the tripod kind of was a kind of a steady cam. It wasn't a real steady cam, but it was steadier than my own holding it in my hands like this would have been. I'd show you on the tripod, but the tripod's in use. So
I like to use monopods when I can. They certainly help. Even a short monopod to go handheld instead of holding the phone itself would be a great help.
Mm-hmm. And I did like the cell phone as a backup cover shot. I think I might use it more again in other production. As just as a cover shot in the background or off to the side to give me a cutaway for editing later. That I think I'll do. And I was really happy with how the quality came out. I shot it in high def and ultra high def on the phone, and that worked well. And they even played a version of it because this is for Illinois State. They played a version of it in a theater, and it came out well. I was impressed at how well it looked on the screen in the theater, and it was a lower res file that they asked for, which was kind of surprised me, a 720p file. So that was kind of I was really worried about how it would look when they finally did it, and it came out fine. So.
Any other questions?
I'd like to get an update on the software that we could, I guess, use at home.
Sure, yeah, I actually have a video on free editing softwares that you can use that are cross-platform. So regardless of whether you have a Mac or a Windows PC, it'll work on both.
Okay.
I did actually want to add something really quick to Jim's presentation, but hold on, I'm going to share my screen. You can actually get these really cheap DIY setups. You can see you can actually get lenses for your iPhone or smartphone, and it's relatively cheap. I mean, $17.99, which isn't that bad.
The lens is $17?
That's for the entire set. So it comes with the.
That's the same clip that I was using.
Yeah.
Same kind of clip.
Here and then.
Will you send a link?
Yeah, I can send a link after this.
Okay.
And then I do have a video that I'm gonna play in a second. Hold on. Let me know if you guys.
Have you ever spent
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yeah.
hours editing your video with a free program only to export it and have the video turn out like this or this? Today we're going to fix that. What's up guys, Iovo here and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. In today's video we're going to be going over the top 5 best free video editing software that you can use for your next video. Now there's hundreds of programs you can choose from, so I want to make sure that I choose the best software, so every single one must meet the following criteria. Each program must be available for both Windows and Mac. There must be absolutely no watermarks. And the program must have all basic functionality available, so you should be able to add a bunch of video clips, trim them, add effects to them, as well as edit the music and text and be able to export it as a full video. And so with that being said, let's get started. Now these programs aren't being mentioned in any particular order, but the first one we're going to be talking about is DaVinci Resolve 16. And DaVinci Resolve is one of my favorite editors. It's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux and has all of the functionality that you can ask for. You can not only combine clips, edit your video and audio, add transitions and effects, but you can also do some keyframe editing as well as color grading. DaVinci Resolve also has more robust features such as a frame rate editor as well as facial recognition. So you can literally make anything you want within this software. You can also easily export videos in the perfect format for YouTube, and there's no limitations on the length of the video. I'm actually pretty surprised that all of this is available for free within DaVinci Resolve. Now, the biggest limitation is that the maximum resolution you can export videos at is 4K. Unfortunately, you can't export videos in 8K with the free version, but I can't see any reason why you'd want to be exporting videos in 8K in the first place. You also don't get all of the facial recognition features and effects in the free version, and you do need a pretty powerful computer, but all in all, with DaVinci Resolve 16, you can literally make 99.9% of the YouTube videos you want to with the free version. Now, if you have a PC that's less powerful and you want something that's web-based, the web-based editor I would recommend is Kapwing. Kapwing is one of the only online editors I've found that has no watermark, so I'm pretty surprised that all of this is available for free. The only limitation you have is that within the free version, you can't export videos that are longer than 10 minutes, but I wouldn't see this as a big restriction. Now, before we move on to the next program, if you're wondering what the best way to actually learn these programs is, I would highly recommend that you use Skillshare, which is the sponsor of today's video. Skillshare is an online education platform where you can take as many courses as you want for a monthly or annual fee. If you're someone who wants to learn about video editing, graphic design, or anything else, this is the perfect way to do so because you don't have to pay for every single course. Over the last month, I've actually been using Skillshare myself to learn how to use Premiere Pro, but they also have courses for DaVinci Resolve and the other free editors that I mentioned in this video. If you guys are interested, you can click the link down below in the description, and the first 1,000 people that sign up will get 2 months for free, so I highly recommend that you check it out. Next up on the list, we have Shotgun. Shotgun is a really good choice because it's completely free. It's an open source editor available for Windows, Macs, and Linux, and you don't need to upgrade to any pro version to access all of the features because everything is available in the main version at no cost. For this reason, if you're somebody who wants to commit to learning one software that you're going to be using for a long time, I would recommend Shotcut because you're never going to have to upgrade to any pro version, and you have a lot of different things you can do within the software. It has all the functionality you can ask for. Not only does Shotcut have all of the video editing features you need, but it's probably the most robust audio editor on this list as well. Within Shotcut, you can change the pitch, normalize your audio, change the reverb, as well as the speed, and also remove noise. And so if you're someone who's shooting vlogs or music videos and you have a lot of different audio inputs and you want to make sure that your videos have consistent audio as well, I would highly recommend Shotcut. The fourth program on this list is Lightworks. Lightworks is also available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Lightworks has a variety of different features, including the ability to crop clips, color grade, combine them, add different effects, as well as add different elements such as pictures and text right into your video so you can create a cohesive product. One thing that's really cool about Lightworks is that it's optimized for speed. Lightworks ensures that it lags as little as possible, and this is done by having a lot of processes run in the background. So as you're editing, the videos will automatically be rendering, and so everything will be very smooth, fast, and seamless. However, because this is the case, you do need a powerful computer to be able to run Lightworks, similar to DaVinci Resolve. And one of the limitations of Lightworks is that within the free version, you can only export videos up to 720p, which is still fine because that is HD. But if you're someone who wants to, be able to export videos at 1080p or 4K for whatever reason, then I would stay away from Lightworks and use the other 4 alternatives that I mentioned in this video. And the last program on this list is HitFilm Express 4. Now, HitFilm is very similar to DaVinci Resolve, where you can not only do basic edits to your video, but also do very advanced things, such as keyframe editing and color grading. There is no time restrictions on your video exports, and you can export all the way up to 4K in the free version. What makes it very different from DaVinci Resolve is that it doesn't have the option to sync multiple cameras at once. But other than that, HitFilm Express is very solid. You can make basically any YouTube video you want on it. It doesn't have any exporting constraints. You can export videos that are over 20 minutes long, and they can be up to 4K, which is perfect for YouTube. And it doesn't require as much processing power as a program such as DaVinci Resolve. So if you have a less powerful computer, HitFilm Express 4 might be the perfect product for you. But those are all the programs I'm going to be covering for this video. Let me know down below in the comments if I missed any, and I can include.
Yeah, so that's a list of free editing softwares you guys can use. I can email you guys link or a list of all of them after this if you guys like. As well, there's also tons of tutorials on YouTube for all of these softwares. He mentioned Skillshare. I've never used that before, and I know you have to pay for that. But honestly, YouTube should have all the necessary tutorials you guys need. I also have experience with most of these, so if you do guys get stuck, just you guys could email me and I could see if I could troubleshoot any of the issues you guys have with them.
Cool.
Did you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I mean, what do you recommend out of the selections they gave us?
Definitely either HitFilm Express or DaVinci Resolve. I know Resolve needs more higher end computers. I'm not sure what the exact requirements are for that one, but I know HitFilm Express. I have a really old PC here at home, and it runs fine on it. So I don't think using that one should be a problem.
Okay, so we can email you if we get stuck on something, right?
I'll do my best. If not, I'll send you guys some tutorials that help me out.
All right.
And I believe training will be doing one-on-ones or something like that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they mentioned that in the last town hall.
This is Lisa. I do editing at home, and I'm wondering if you mentioned MP4 and but some of the others, like more detailed configuration items, do they remain the same? Whether you use a cell phone, maybe you use a Zoom recording, is that sheet still relevant for some of the editing we're doing with some of the other formats?
Yes. This is Jim Naga. Yes, you want to keep it the same like that. It's because that sets you up for the parameters that programming needs, because the automation system that CanTV uses is a little quirky on what it likes. Actually, almost any automation system is that way. So so yes, you want to try to keep editing with those parameters.
Okay.
Yeah, and also a lot of these softwares offer a graphics editor, so you can make your own graphics in the software themselves, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, there was the one thing with the two, the Resolve and the I think which the other one was that used the more powerful computer. I was interested. Richard, have you used what was the one that did it online?
Hold on, let me see here. Kapwing.
Kaplink.
Yes.
Yeah. I was curious how that one worked, because that would have been if you're working on a tablet or something like that, that would be something that maybe would be easier to work with.
Yeah, if it's like something you need quick and short, that's probably something you can consider, especially if you don't need to do a lot. If you just need to like put a short video out there, it'll probably be best for that.
Yeah. I worked with Adobe Rush this last week, and it was a lot like Premiere Elements, I thought, when I was working with it.
It's made by Adobe. That's why I have Rush too, but you have to have a cloud subscription in order to use those.
Yeah.
It's free once you have a cloud subscription. And I edit with DaVinci Resolve, and it does have a steep learning curve. And the one that Richard mentioned in Shotcut is fairly easy to learn. But also Windows 10 ships with its own video editor. It's called Video Editor, and it's the simplest of the bunch. It's just that I don't know if it exports in MP4. You may have to use conversion software like Handbrake or VLC, which has a steep learning curve. We've had nothing but problems with it, so I'm not too fond of it.
I'm on a conference call. What'd you say?
Never mind.
I can listen to you now.
Mike Gleason, did you have a question?
Well, are you taking questions based on the topic being discussed, or just in general? Because I can see you guys are going through some categories right now.
Well, if you have a question, we'll be more than happy to answer.
So if you got an agenda,
we're just trying to cover some of the concerns that we got back from you guys. But certainly we'll do our best to answer any question that may, present itself.
Okay, well, if you have an agenda to carry on, I'll wait. Otherwise, I can throw it out there. How do we want to play that?
Well, what's your question?
Okay, my question concerns the studio itself with COVID, and my concerns are two: the things we touch and the things that come into our contact with our mouth, mainly being microphones, headsets, soundboard, and the switcher. So I was wondering what is it going to be like in the studio, considering that microphones are passed around, headsets are passed around quite often, and that's how COVID, that's one of the main ways COVID is transferred. So what do you see the studio looking like when you do a shoot as concerns use of headphones, microphones, etc.?
Okay. First of all, we're going to limit the amount of folk that will be in the studio. We will be sanitizing it at the beginning of each studio and at the end of each studio. We'll keep a log of it for our own personal knowledge. We have to do the same thing with the field equipment. With the field equipment, and even with the studio where we can, we will rotate. So, for example, we may have 6 microphones. You may request 2. Well, those 2 may not go out until, a couple of productions down the road, but they will still get sanitized because we're going to constantly do that. One of the other concerns I was mentioning earlier is that you may have to request, because we're trying to limit the studio. For example, we have the 11 to 2. If we have an 11 and 2, we may not do a 2 to 5 because we do have to get in there and sanitize stuff. We may do a 5 to 8, but if there's a back-to-back, we have to have a long discussion about who the crew is, what's going to take place, because we do want to sanitize. So we want to make certain that equipment is sanitized, even in the editing bays. I mean, whatever you touch while you're there, we're going to be sanitizing, because again, we don't know. I mean, we don't want to follow you in the washroom, but we will be. We will be cleaning the water fountain, the handles and stuff, things that people come in contact with.
Right.
And that's why we're limiting it. How many folks are in a given space at any time? So that's an excellent question. I mean, even we were talking about in the conference room, where you may have refreshments, we may have to limit how that is being deployed and where people are. So, I mean, it's all new to us. So, I mean, we have a plan in place, but that's subject to be modified because we don't know.
Would we be looking at situations realistically where we're kind of going to stick to talk shows, a couple of talking heads? You said you're going to limit the number of people with lockdown cameras. Is that what I'm trying to see what I'm planning for, and if that's going to be the protocol?
Well, we're gonna stay on the safe side in terms of the social distancing that's been stated by the city and the state to begin with. They'll be opening up different phases, but yet and still, we're gonna make sure that our main concern is the safety of the producers and of the staff. Because again, when you ask the type of show, we may have to limit that to a certain degree, simply because the studio we talk about having capacity of 50 people. It's not gonna happen, and that's for everybody's safety. I mean, it's just one of those things where we have to be vigilant in terms of what we do and prudent in terms of just the application. So that's something that we would definitely have to talk about, because Giselle mentioned last week that she's on public trans. Well, some of your people may be on public trans. We have some staff people that's on public trans. So the ability to come in contact with other elements is great.
Yeah.
I drive, so I mean, from my house to the studio back to my house, I mean, I don't have to see anybody if, you know, if need be, but that may not be the case for everybody. Jeremy mentioned he's going to be riding his bike. That's to be on the safe side. So, to really try to answer your question, Mike, we're going to do the best we can to make certain that everybody is safe, and that we're going to constantly sanitize. I mean, I'll probably be doing a lot of stuff myself.
I have a question.
Okay, Tony. I mean, first of all, Mike, does that answer your question?
It kind of does. I was trying to form in my mind what level of production, what type of production, what format of production I can look forward to when the studio opens. And I'm with you. You know, if that means sticking to a two-personality talking head show, then if that's what it is, that's what it is, until they come up with a vaccine.
Right. And that's not projected until, you know, beginning of next year.
Right.
But we're gonna do the best we can. I mean, and I know you and I always talk about your different productions, so we'll continuously do that.
I have a question.
Okay.
Tony.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the props on the chairs. Now, when we get there, for instance, are we going to be limited in the choice of our chairs, or can we pick and choose a chair, then sanitize it?
Okay. Now, that's an excellent question. What you may, it may cause us some work. I got to see how this is going to make sense. I mean, we may get your stuff for you, or if we can limit the amount of folks that's there, then we can do that.
Yeah.
But in terms of sanitizing, oh yes, that's without a doubt. I mean, anything that's touched will be sanitized.
Right, but what I'm driving at is, let's say I walk into the studio and I want to set up my stage. Now, I prefer using those red chairs. Other people might prefer those the stackable chairs. When they're brought into the room, then will they be sanitized, or will they be sanitized waiting for us to be used?
They'll be sanitized prior to. Everything will be sanitized. When we get in there, before you guys get there, we're gonna be sanitizing stuff. Now, with the different chairs you use, we probably have to figure out a way to maybe even number the different chairs, because you may use 2 chairs, somebody else may use 3. So we want to know which chairs are being used. I mean, it's gonna be a challenging thing in terms of what is being used and what isn't being used. I mean, Mike asked about the microphones and stuff like that, you know, but not only the microphones, but the XLR cables. I mean, anything you touch, we have to make sure that we have something in place for sanitizing.
Now, my other question is, again, this with the equipment, adjusting the lights. Will each light, I mean, will they be, I know we can't set the lights to certain things, but let's say we walk up on the ladder, we adjust some lights, then should we be sanitizing it after we touch it, and then probably not touch it the rest of the session, or will someone be going in and sanitizing all those lights so they can be adjusted without someone, you know? I mean, I wouldn't mind walking around with some sort of like disinfectant kind of wiping as I go, and, you know, saying, okay, I need this light to be moved. I will move it, I'll sanitize it before, I will move it, then I can sanitize it after with a hand wipe of some sort, or and then just leave it at that. The other thing is also for some of our shows, we like to bring in some of the plastic plants and whatever. Now I know, I'm not worried about the guests touching those things. I'm more worried about the crew touching the plants, bringing them into the room, adjusting them as necessary or whatever, or other props such as tables, things like that. I guess that's the end of it.
Okay. Well, let's get back to the lights. There's a certain lighting scheme that we have set up. So when you move that light, it has to be moved back to its original spot. We just can't leave it there, because guess what? If we leave it there, that means somebody else is going to have to adjust. So I would say at the end of the shoot, we will probably make sure it's moved back to its proper location and then sanitize. Now, as far as
the crew would be moving the lights. Would the crew be moving the lights back to those original positions? And
the crew is responsible for moving it back to its original. I mean, that shouldn't change. That shouldn't change. We can go up afterwards and sanitize it. We'll sanitize the ladder and all. Anything that's touched, we're going to sanitize it.
Right.
Right. As far as the plants and stuff, Elma has done a good job of bringing in plants and stuff like that, and we appreciate it. But during that duration, some of those plants have kind of seen better days because of how people have handled it. So they may not be, it may be a limited amount of plants that's available. I know Don likes to bring in his own stuff. So
yeah, we do.
His own props. We won't be responsible for sanitizing your personal props.
No, we just use chairs.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, right. I understand.
Our stuff that we know is going to be used by the general public, we got to sanitize. We definitely have to, because again, we have to make certain that we're doing everything we can in terms of preventive measures.
Are we going to be still doing 3 studios a day, or is that going to change?
No 3. Come on, Tony. We have to sanitize in between.
That's why I asked the question. How is that going to work?
Put like this. If there's 11 to 2, and somebody has a 2 to 5, doesn't give us a whole lot of time to sanitize in between.
No, I agree. I'm just saying,
right
so
now,
it seems like...
I'm going to start out with probably 1, just to be on the safe side and see how that goes. Because not everybody's going to be anxious to get back in. So we're going to kind of see what the requests are and go accordingly to that. Because again, too, I got to make certain with staff-wise, I may just have 1 person assigned to the studio. I may not be able to switch people up because of that. And that person will get their usual break, and somebody else may come in or be available while that person is on break. So these are things that we're kind of looking at. We're trying to keep everything open. I mean, I like the rotation from before, but that may not make sense at this point in time.
My other question is, now normally Don and I, for his show, we piggyback. Now, I guess I'm going to safely assume that that's not going to be available to us anymore.
I wouldn't say that. And you probably got in later when I was talking about this. I would entertain questions on that and see what's feasible, because if you got the same people from one studio to the next, then
only the guests change.
Okay. Again, it makes it a little easier. I mean, if it's just a matter of sanitizing a mic or a chair, I mean, that makes it a little easier than trying to go and sanitize the whole control room and the cameras and stuff like that. I mean,
Right.
it gives us a little bit more work to do. That's why when we talk about the back-to-back, those are things that I have to take a closer look at for everybody's sake.
Sure.
So,
Okay. Thank
I
you.
mean, you're not the only one to go back-to-back. We have.
I know. I just, hadn't heard it raised before, so I don't know.
Yeah, we have several people that like to do that. And
Yeah.
again, I have to think about, like you were saying, the sanitizing it, but I also got to think about my staff coverage, and then the other component in that is how much activity is within the facility. Because even though we're kind of isolated, when you go out into the general area, there may be other stuff going on that
Yeah.
you may have to. I may have to be in a hall monitor. Okay, stop. You come on. No, yeah. I mean,
Sure.
I'm jokingly, but I mean, I may have to do that.
We can get you a little stop sign so you can wave it around and say, stop, go, stop, go.
Right.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Giselle.
Okay, will CAN TV, this is about the big studio now, will CAN TV regulate how many guests that we can have?
Yes,
Okay.
because
Have
of
you reached
social
that number
distancing.
yet? Hmm?
It's social distancing. I mean,
Right. But like say I have a show and I say, okay, I could put 5, and then you say, no, the regulations at CAN TV are 3 or 2. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Would it be
Well,
a hard?
we will let you know once we get back in there and we do the measurement. But let's face
Okay.
it, Bill, a stage. I mean, you try to put 5 people on that stage 6 feet apart.
Well, that
How
was
is that?
hypothetical. That was
Huh?
that was a hypothetical.
But I'm just saying, when you look at the size of the stage,
Right.
and the distance that you have to keep people, apart, that's going to play an important factor. Yeah.
I hear you.
Let me stop this phone from ringing.
That also might affect like your group shots, because if everybody's spread out so wide, you might want to shoot it from more of an angle so that it appears like they're closer than they really are.
Yeah. Yeah, no real good cover
Really
shots, that's for sure.
Are you going to have any tools to measure whether people are sick or not, like having a thermometer or something at the studio, like one of those ones where they're not that expensive. It might be a precaution you might want to consider.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, Scott. I know that things have been ordered, but I don't know exactly what all has come in, because we've been away, but things have been ordered. So I'm not sure, so I can't say that we have one of those thermometers that you can measure somebody's temperature by their forehead and stuff like that. So I'm not sure.
Are you wearing an Iowa Hawkeye jersey?
No, I'm wearing a Howard Dad's jersey.
Oh, Howard University.
Right.
Howard University.
Supporting my daughter.
Oh, Howard University, Terrence?
Yes, sir.
Oh, in DC, right?
Right, my alma mater as well.
Oh, okay.
I should have worn my Michigan Dad shirt.
I spent
Do
a
it next
minute
week.
at Howard. I had an issue with their music department, mainly centered around my lack of talent.
I'm a Hamptonian myself.
Oh,
This is
sure.
Lisa. I'm a Hamptonian myself.
All righty.
Oh, Hampton. Okay, good
Hampton,
school.
Virginia.
I visited there once and really enjoyed the place, Virginia Beach. It was a groovy place, I thought.
Mhm.
Hey, Terrence,
Yes.
DePaul needs an athletic director. They finally got rid of Lenti Ponsetto. You want me to put your name in?
No, you know what? We'll talk about that later. you know, that's Richard's school.
That's mine too.
So, but let's stay back to what we were dealing with. Again, we're playing this by ear. I mean, we all are. I mean, nobody could ever imagine that things would be to where it is currently. I mean, we just had no clue. And let's face it, if we don't do the proper precaution, it may spike. So we want to get back in there and we want to do the best we can to keep things rolling. So that you guys can turn in shows and feel safe about it, because you're going to get some people, they're going to be hesitant. I mean, and I can understand that. So don't want to not do the due diligence, because I mean, I'm open for whatever suggestions that may pop up or whatever situation may occur, and try to do the best I can. And we're going to do the best we can as a staff and as an organization to make sure everybody's safe.
I have a
Terrence,
quick
this
question.
is Debbie Brooks. I have a question. I was in the middle of taking the Studio in the Box and was due to take the last, we were due to take the last class, and that's when everything went on lockdown. So how is that going to be completed?
Okay, that's not really my area per se, because that's training, but I'm sure they're gonna have some stuff in place for you.
Okay, thank you.
Because it's interesting, they transferred a call to me a couple of months ago about a gentleman that was prepared to take the exam. And he had a lot of concerns. I'm saying, well, they'll reschedule you. I couldn't tell you when, but, give training a call. And Deborah, you can email training@cantv.org.
Thank you.
And then they can
quick-
answer that.
I have a quick question for the studio. What's your estimated time of disinfecting in between shoots? An hour?
Don't really know, Tony, to be honest with you. But, I mean, if we're not doing back-to-backs,
Yeah.
we got 3 hours to
Right.
get it right.
Right.
So it's that last one, the 8 o'clock, that we may have to double down. And then when we get in that following morning, we'll have to revisit it.
Another question is, seemingly that we're going to be eliminating the middle studio time. Is there any talk of maybe extending from 3 to 4 hours? That way, for instance, we could get an extra time to do a second show, and/or sometimes in the past have needed more time for setup and/or breakdown to put on a production that I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
We're not eliminating the middle. Just so you know, the 2 to 5 is also very popular. So what we're going to do is try to be consistent across the board, and we're going to try to make certain that as we have studio productions, that we can do everything we can to keep things neat, clean, and sanitized. So again, like I said, it may be 2 of us that's doing it, as opposed to the person that may be assigned in there. Because again, I know I'm going to probably be doing a lot more of hands-on as far as that goes. So that way, and we got to log this stuff. We got to, let people know, no, we've done this, because some people may not want to take our word for it.
Question.
Right.
We have a question on the phone here.
Yes, it's Keith. So as you know, as we go visit places now, they will not let you in unless you have a mask on. Coming into the studio with, I don't know if you talked about it yet, because I did come in at 1:10 today. I wasn't at the very beginning. So have you addressed that yet?
Your question is about mask?
Yes, mask and or gloves.
Okay, we didn't talk about gloves per se. We were more concerned about the mask, and we would probably have some limited masks, but we would prefer people to come in with their own. I mean, there are gonna be some people that don't have them, but the thing is that we don't want to be constantly passing them out when we don't have to.
No. I guess and good point. I get that, but my question was, you know, some of these stores and restaurants we go in, we cannot come in unless we have a mask on. So I'm not asking if you're just giving them out, the individual, to make sure that they have a mask to enter the facility.
Oh yeah,
and that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, if they don't, we're requiring a mask when you enter. If you don't, we'll try to provide you with one.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I have another suggestion too, that maybe all guests need to wear their mask until we take, because I'm thinking about you getting close up, miking your guests. You know.
Well, that's something that we can certainly have the producer make certain happen, and then we will also have those the gels where you can sanitize your hand. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be all over the facility. Wherever you look, you're gonna be seeing those where people can clean their hands.
Yay.
Definitely. I mean, we got them at the studio now. We got them back in production. I'm sure they're in program services. I'm sure they're in NPO services. So they will be available. Hand sanitizers.
Mike's got a question.
Yeah, Giselle kind of introduced the question. During the taping, is on-screen talent expected to be masked? That means your guests and whoever's on the stage, are they expected to wear a mask throughout the entire episode?
Until we start taping.
Right.
Like when you see the press conferences with the governor, and they have the mask, and when they step up to the podium, they take it off.
So what's your take on, what's the studio expectation, Terrence?
Pretty much what Giselle has said. I mean, it's like, I think if somebody's watching your show and they see your guest, with the mask, either like you see the reporters in their hand or around their neck or what have you, that shows that you're consciously concerned about this COVID-19. I mean, I see folks in the stores that they don't believe in social distancing. They don't believe in it. And I'm like, really? I mean, you're going to get some people that don't necessarily take it as serious, but that's where we have to collectively, not just the staff, but you guys as producers, say, hey, look, you're over here, maybe you want to put your mask on. And you don't have to do it confrontationally. You can do it. I mean, I have no problem with pull a person to the side with my mask on and say, hey, you may want to put your mask on since you're not part of what's going on.
So just concerned about everybody. Will staff be wearing their masks during the time they stay at Can TV?
Staff will be wearing their masks from the time they get there to when they go into break until they leave. Trust me. And they want to. When you see us in the hallway, we will have our mask on.
Okay.
I don't know if he is reasonable.
We're going to be having social distancing. I mean, just so you guys know, we're going to limit the amount of people in the editing bay, in the production services. And this stuff, again, we're gonna have to make adjustments as we move along. I mean, we can have something in place, but then we can find a better way to do it. So this is new. I mean, it's new to us. So we can anticipate certain things until you're actually involved in it. We won't know. You know, safety is the main important thing.
I had a thought about the beginning of some studio shows where if we're going to be showing the social distancing, it might be like a good idea to start with like a really wide shot with everyone being seen socially distant. Also wearing a mask, but as say the host of a show would be seen starting to wear his mask and then take it down just onto his chin or her chin, and then go back and forth between the different people talking, either saying something to the effect of like, we are all very socially distant and we feel comfortable taking our mask down so we can pronunciate our words better and stuff like that. No, it's just a thought. It's a suggestion. You know, I don't know what kind of restrictions we might have on that kind of thing.
Well, if that's a question to me, because I think that's something in general, I would say that different producers probably will handle things a little differently based on the type of show that they're doing. But I'm not opposed to that. I mean,
okay.
The other producers, they may chime in and say what their thoughts are, because they may have a different methodology or way that they want to, you know, implement.
Now, one other thought I had, just as it came to me, is that so many times when you have, let's say 3 guests and a host for our shows, for instance, is there any kind of way of getting some sort of like plexiglass kind of divider between the chairs, and then going about it that way?
You know, Tony, we had talked about plexiglass. It's a hot commodity right now.
Yeah.
And so there's a back order on stuff like that. So
okay.
Where before it was easily accessible, you know, it's a weight now. And then you will still have to sanitize the plexiglass and all that, which I'm not opposed to in certain areas. But again, I know that there is a wait list for that, because you can sell it in sheets and then, you know, trim it to meet whatever you know, specification that you need.
Okay. I occasionally keep seeing people posting like little notes on here. How do we retrieve those?
How do you retrieve them? I think Jim is doing that.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll make the file available with the video of the notes
okay,
and
that's fine.
the chat.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, the chats for everyone, those have become available. If someone did a private chat, then that would be available.
Okay, thank you.
Jeremy, okay. Any other questions or concerns you guys have? Mike, you look like you chomping at the bit. You're muted.
Yeah, he's muted. Will the hours be the same, regular business hours, like from 10 to 8 on the weekdays?
Yeah, I spoke to that earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. There is something I do want to add, and I think a lot of people said in writing. Even after this pandemic is somehow remediated, the world has been Zoomified, and I think it'd be a great idea to keep these Zoom conferences going on. Some of the previous ones, I've gotten a lot out of those, and I think the whole world has kind of got over that Zoom and Google Hangout learning curve. So I would suggest keeping these going.
Okay. I had decided to keep them going up until you guys came back. I mean, and if we have to go back and maybe do it once a month, I may not have a problem with that. The only reason I say that is because of scheduling wise, some folks may be off. And so if we're at work, we may have to kind of, how would you say, put things on hold while we meet. I mean, we've been talking for what, an hour and 15 minutes now. We may have to limit it or that sort of thing, but I'm certainly open for stuff like that because again, I think that a lot of stuff is going to be the new normal. And it was kind of interesting for us because we're used to seeing you guys at the facility, and that's how we do our job. So, you know, we decided that no, we were sending out emails, and we're like, you know what? We've been engaged in different Zoom conferences. I know Jim Knightright has been, Jeremy has been, I'm sure Frazier as well as Richard and I have been with other things. Like, well, let's do this for the producers, so that way we can see them, we can talk to them, and hopefully we can keep that dialogue open. Not everybody has access, so we got to figure out a way for those that don't have access how to keep them in the loop. So that's why we try to send out the emails and stuff, and then I make calls out to folks as I can.
So kind of like a follow-up question, in these meetings, these have been Zoom meetings. I'm sorry I missed the first one, but I'm not really quite sure why Richard was showing that when I came on, why he was explaining about Zoom and other applications like that. And I think I just saw Jim post something, and so is there Zoom classes for producers?
Well, you know what, Keith? To answer your first question, Richard had some videos showing people how to get free editing software at their home, because that came up. With the Zoom training, there is a link that's posted to show you guys how to do Zoom. But if you want to do a deeper dive, you can just contact the training department at training@kntv.org, and they'll be more than happy to talk to you about it.
You know, I misunderstood. That's training by way of Zoom. That's not training you how to use Zoom.
Right. But you know, you never know. I can't speak for them in terms of how they would do their workshops because they have been talking about doing one-on-one.
You see that in there? You see his jack, his feet running out?
Okay. Is that Tony talking? Parker?
No, that wasn't me.
No, Parker. I thought I heard Tony Parker, but I couldn't hear him.
No, I want to thank everyone. I have to leave now, but this is very informative, and I greatly appreciate being a part of this. And I know that in the future that we will get through this, and all our problems will be solved one way or another. Thank you, and good night.
Okay, and this will be edited and posted. I believe Jim Knightright had uploaded one recently, so the last one. So I think we'll be doing these so that you guys can, if you want to go back and access them, you can.
Yeah, and the file will be available too, with the at least the links and stuff that people put in the chat. We'll make that available.
Good night. Thank you.
All righty. Take care.
Thank you, Tony.
So
Keith, go ahead, Keith.
missed the first one. So you said there's a way to go look at it. It's on your YouTube. I'm on your website or where?
It's private, so I have to get to the link. Is what we're gonna do. So
Okay, all right.
we'll do
Thank
that. Keith, I posted in the chat. There's a and it's you can get to it from the homepage on the CAN TV site. But the trainings put a thing on recording with Zoom, and they just updated it, and it's on the thing. So if you were trying to like record an interview or something like that, how to go about it. It will record the like I'm looking at the gallery view right now, but there's also a speaker view where it flips around between the different people who talk, and if somebody coughs a lot, it'll switch to that too. But there's that version too, and there's ways to record and capture that. If you're recording on your local computer, you're recording whatever you're seeing. But if you have a Zoom account that will let you record on the cloud, it records the speaker view.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have one more question. I about to just remembered. When we're in the studio, when we do have an opportunity to get back into the studio, can we use the live call-in?
You know what? The only time we were scheduling live call-ins were like on Fridays for the 5 to 8 slot, and the Saturday mornings from the 9 to noon. I would have to talk with program services to check. But you know, that was like a 31 to 35 day period when you put your name on the list. So if we were to do that, let's say we got back into the studio June 29th, but you're looking at the end of the end of July, beginning of August before we would be doing the call-ins.
Okay, I was just curious as to.
And that's something that we'll probably entertain, because to be honest with you, Lisa, I was looking at the schedules and I was like, that's right, we do these live shows. How's that going? So that's something that I will be looking at as well, because I don't see any reason why not, but I still would have to coordinate that with program services.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Well, I just want to say I got a lot out of this. I'm sorry I missed the first one. I look forward to the next one tomorrow, right?
Thursday.
No, okay.
Next Thursday.
Okay.
And just remember, you guys got an RSVP, and then we'll send you the link. So because you attend this one, doesn't mean you're automatically grandfathered into the next one.
Okay.
Oh, you know what about that, Terrence? The links keep coming in under names that I don't recognize. Like one link came from Jeremy, and another one came from some other names that I didn't recognize. I'm searching for the link.
You said the links in terms of email. You may be on his list of people to send emails out to. But I think
CAN TV in there.
Yeah, I think Jim, you were pretty much sending all the links out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I sent
for the Zoom.
Also, for the Zoom.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Keith had a concern when he saw Richard's name pop up, and and the thing about it was that we have over 100 producers, so we all tried to split it evenly, and your name, McDonald, just fall into his category.
But the thing is, like what Michael said, CAN TV wasn't on his. It was just video meeting, Zoom meeting, and his name Richard. I never knew Richard's last name. So I just figured out today who Richard is.
Richard is not taking it personally.
No, it's all right. I understand.
So I just ignored it because I don't know who these people are. But if you put CAN TV in the subject matter on it, like I was on this one.
Exactly, Keith. That's exactly
right.
I know. Yeah, because I missed the meeting last week because when I was trying to find the link, I kept searching CAN TV. Couldn't find it, and the link never came up. And I think this time it was Jeremy, and now Jimmy Knightright. I didn't know that name until I'm just
Oh, yeah.
bored with nothing else to do to click around on my emails. And oh, Can TV. So yeah, if you put it in the subject line or something so that I can search it down. But let me ask Keith to kind of introduce it. Are we doing this every Thursday until further notice?
Yes, you probably wasn't in on the beginning of it, but that's what I pretty much said. I said we will be doing this up until you guys come back. We're opening on the 29th of June for the public. To do that on that, what would that be, the 2nd of July? Some of us will be working and some of us won't. Right now, we're all working from home, so we kind of know. But I think Tony LaCroix mentioned he likes these. We can continuously do these, and I'm like, well, we may be able to do this maybe once a month. We'll just have to play it by ear. But what we were doing with this is so we can have a face-to-face contact with you guys and answer questions and stuff like that. But once we get back open, I mean, your questions, we'll be there in person to kind of deal with it. But I mean, you know,
you just gave me a new idea for a new TV show, the Zoom meeting show, and all kind of drama that happens at the Zoom meetings.
When you RSVP at production services at KTV, I usually tell you confirmed, I got it, that sort of thing, so you know. And then I send that to the staff. So whether it's Jim McKnight or whether it's Frazier or whether it's Jeremy or whether it's Richard, they all get that to let you guys, to let them know that we have somebody that wants to be part of it. But yeah, no, we want to do this. We were just trying to think of creative ways, trust me, to keep engaged with you guys, because it's been a chore for us. I mean, especially when we're so used to giving out equipment, covering different things, taking reservations, but that was all in the facility. So we had to do something that was safe, that would still give us that contact, and this is what we came up with.
I'll just go ahead and say it, Harris. We're home by ourselves and ain't got nothing else to do and have to talk to somebody. Go ahead and say it.
Hey, how is Jim, our illustrious leader, and Mary?
Everybody's doing fine.
Okay.
They're doing fine, yeah. We have our weekly meetings, so they're all doing fine, and they're anxious to see you guys back within the facility. So everybody's doing fine. The whole management team is doing fine.
Good. Praise God.
All right, you guys, been great. See you later.
All right, take care.
All right. God bless you.
All right, take care.
All right.